problem, which is how to estimate the value of a customer loyalty, identify the most valued customers, and predict if a customer will churn. Moving on to the research questions, we have come up with 5 research questions, and they include: firstly, is what are our customers' RFM scores? Second, what are our customers' CLV scores? Third, what are the characteristics of a valuable customers? Fourth, what types of customers are likely to refer our loyalty program to their friends and colleagues? And lastly, is there an indication that our customers will churn? Moving on to the first research question. The first research question relates on the importance and the use of RFM model in analyzing the value of customers in FGB's customer base. This model incorporates 3 important aspects of a customer's purchasing behavior, and by using a score-based method, it can help a business to identify the most valuable customers among a large data set. The 3 factors used in the RFM model are recency, the time interval since the customer's last purchase; frequency, the number of purchases a customer has made in a given period; and monetary value, which is the total amount of value that all the customers' purchases in a period amount to. Equal point allocation is an important aspect in calculating the RFM. Therefore, in order to measure the data more accurately, the points allocated in the table consists of same weightage to show equal importance of each recency, frequency, and monetary scores. By using the quartile formula in Excel, we have created equal quartiles with each differed by 5. Moreover, we made the decision to not provide any scores to the lowest performance, as they show no value to the FGB. In regards of the RFM calculation, we are using the data in purchase record sheets, focusing on the 3 variables such as member ID, sales day, and sales amount. Firstly, it is important to find the sum of total sales each customer made and the last purchase day. Since each customer may have more than 1 transaction, we sort the data based on the member ID. Moreover, we are using the pivot table to give us the result of each customer, which makes it easy for us to score it using the point allocation table. Then, the if function formula is used to allocate the points with the guidance of the table. Once the points are determined, the total of the 3 variables are counted to attain the final RFM scores. Moving on to the results. The descriptive statistics of the RFM score indicates that the highest score is 55 and the lowest is 10, as can be seen here. Once we figure out the customers that has this score, we look at the other variables in customer sheet to look for possible similar characteristics that we can use as a focus on the segmentation. Since there are 1975 RFM scores, it is not possible to present all these scores on paper. Rather, the descriptive statistical analysis provide all the important characteristics of the score set. The most important thing to note is that the mean is 30.99, is deceivingly high due to the customers with extremely high scores. The majority of customers fall under this mean, which is shown with a median of 30.
So our second research question is about CLV, and the reason we incorporated this with the RFM model is to provide more long-term results. So the CLV model we've used is on the screen behind me, and the variables involved are the revenue, acquisition cost, servicing cost, retention rate, and discount rate. So to figure out the revenue, we simply summed up the amount of purchases from all our customers to see what their total revenue is. The acquisition cost and servicing costs were not provided to us by FPG, so therefore, for the sake of this calculation, we assume them to be 0. When FGP receives this data, they can manipulate this formula based on their costs. The retention rate was simply the customers active in 2016 as a percentage of those active in 2015. And the discount rate we used was the industry standard used by most research papers, which was 10%, as this is the general return on investment. So we presented our CLV scores through a frequency histogram and a descriptive statistical analysis. So as you can see in the histogram, the graph is skewed to the right, meaning that most consumers are within the lower range of CLV scores. When we look at the descriptive statistical analysis, we see that the mean is unusually high. This is because we have consumers, as you can see, who score over 10,000, so this really distorts the mean. A more accurate way would be to look at the median, which is the middle score, and this score is 642. So what does this mean for FGP? Well, first of all, the CLV scores represented statistically are a bit deceiving as they're higher than what they actually are. So the challenge here is that FGP needs to increase the value of the customers and in turn increase their CLV scores. So one way of doing this is through increasing their satisfaction with the loyalty program. The regression analysis here shows that an increase in satisfaction towards the loyalty program leads to an increase in the consumer CLV score. We then move on to our most valuable customers. So the first most valuable customer is actually an outlier in this data set. This person here has spent more than $300,000 at all 3 chains at FGP. We supplement this with the top 50 most valuable customers based on their CLV scores. So now that we know who our most valuable customers are, it's important to retain them. So an example of how we can do this is to create a status-based loyalty program where we have different tiers. For example, the top tier could be platinum members, and to become a platinum member, you've got to spend a certain amount. Platinum members would then get access to more discounts, better deals, and more loyalty points. And by recognizing and rewarding our most valuable customers, we one, encourage them to spend more, and two, increase their loyalty to our brand. The third research question stems from this and asks, what are the characteristics of a valuable customer? So the rationale behind this is to find out which segments of the market are more valuable, and in turn we can dedicate more marketing resources towards these and yield more results. Other reasons for this is that this data can help with expansion programs as well as possible business-to-business partnerships. So we calculate this through doing hypothesis testing, where we see if the means differ from different groups. So the null hypothesis is that the means do not differ based on what demographic group the consumer is from, and the alternate hypothesis states the opposite. We do this through t-testing and ANOVA testing, and if the p-value is less than 0.05, we reject the null. So the variables we use are gender, age, city they come from, and race. These are demographic factors. And other special factors from the data set include whether they own a credit card and whether they own a car. So as you can see for the demographics, all the p-values are larger than 0.05, meaning that there is no difference. But for the special characteristics, although there's no difference between credit card users, there is a difference between car users. So what does this mean? Well, first of all, marketing resources should be allocated evenly towards the different demographic groups, but there is a potential to attract valuable customers in that of car owners. One way to recommend FGP doing this is to create a partnership with either a car dealer or a car brand, and have that car dealer or brand promote the FGP loyalty program. This will help us attract car owners who are statistically more valuable to us, as well as increase revenue for our petrol chain, as fuel is a complementary good to cars. So one specific way we can do this is if a customer buys a car and signs up for a loyalty program at the same time, the car dealership or brand will give them a special discount. And the way we can subsidize car dealerships or brands is to provide financial incentives to them, or in return we promote their brand or their dealership.
Moving on to research question number 4. In this question, we will talk about what type of customer are likely to refer to our loyalty program to their friends and colleagues. We will divide this question into 2 sections. Where in the first section, we will talk about the value of the customer that can be derived through the non-purchase behavior. In the second section, we will talk about the analyzed customer value with regard to word of mouth ranking. Next. Here we have the histogram of the net promoter. We can see that the graph is skewed to the left, and the likelihood of the recommending this loyalty program fall on number 7, which is more customers are likely to refer to this program to their friends and colleagues. And word of mouth marketing indicates that there are more customers likely to refer this program, and word of marketing is considered as one of the most important marketing tools for this loyalty program that can be referred. Next, we have correlation. Here we have the effect of satisfaction to the net promoter. As our research, we found out that we have 0.506 correlation between the satisfactory program and the net promoter, which means that the satisfactory can affect the net promoter level. Next, we have the satisfaction and the regression analysis for this market from petrol, groceries, and fast food. This 3 satisfaction will affect the satisfaction program for all the loyalty program. And we have petrol as our main contributor, as we have 0.2% of satisfactory that will affect the satisfactory program. Next, word of mouth. Word of mouth will increase the overall satisfaction. And how is it going to increase the overall satisfaction? First, we can do the service that has more efficiency in time. For example, we can have the customer that send their application through email that that will not wait anymore. So we have time efficiency here. We also have value intents. As we increase the satisfaction among the customer, we will also increase the value intents of the net promoter. Also, on the other hand, if the customer have a negative satisfaction, it will also result in negative word of mouth, which is reduce the value of the net promoter. Next. Here we have the cluster analysis that divide the customer into two groups. As the result, we have the customer that have net promoter of 9 points in the cluster 2 and 5.9 in the customer cluster number 1. Here we also can see that the satisfaction program level is different. For the customer in cluster number 2, we have satisfactory program of 9.5. On the other hand, customer cluster number 1 only have 7.2 points, which is we can say that the customer that have more satisfaction also result in the higher level of net promoter. Next. As our recommendation, we could say that we target the customer that have more satisfaction, especially on the petrol. Therefore, we should increase the service in the petrol market to increase the net promoter. Next.
I'm Katina, and I'll be talking about the indications of customers that are likely to churn. So first of all, the prediction of customer churning is very important for a business because they can take immediate action to retain customers before it's too late. So there are several indications of customer churning, and this includes customer satisfaction, customer switching cost, service usage, and customer status. So the first indication that a customer is likely to churn lies in their satisfaction with the product or service that they are currently using. So customer satisfaction is expected to play a very big influence on customer retention. This means that as satisfaction increases, there is less indication that a customer will churn. In a research conducted by Nito and Kamakura, results indicated that there is a positive correlation of customer satisfaction to repurchase behavior. So, looking at our case, we calculated the average customer satisfaction and make time comparisons. So as you can see, based on this customer data, our results indicated that customer satisfaction increased over the years. As shown from the graph, the average satisfaction increased from 6.6 points in the year 2010, and it increased to 7.4 in the year 2014. So from this perspective, it is likely that there will be no customer churning as the current customers seem to be experiencing increased satisfaction over time. So the next factor that influences customer churning is the switching cost. So it's important to note that if a customer is not satisfied with the product or service they are currently using, this does not mean that they will churn. So switching cost is something consumers consider when deciding to switch between product and service providers. So in our case, the switching cost that customers face is the loss of loyalty points. On average, consumers have a total of 837 points, which translates to $8.37. This is only a very small amount, and this indicates that the switching cost is not very high. So furthermore, results of the data indicate that throughout the year, the average point rewards of the customer increase overall. This can be assumed that customers consider reward point very valuable. This also means that customers who have more loyalty points will have higher switching costs because they will not be able to use these points anywhere else. So finally, Burnham noted that other switching costs include learning costs, setup costs, and personal relationship costs. The other factor that influences customer churn is the customer service usage. So according to Calkins, Thibault, and Cutler, frequency is the natural measure of behavioral loyalty. So our data shows that the majority of customers did not make frequent purchases. So this means that most customers only purchase one. So for instance, as you can see from the graph, 176 customers never repurchased after only one transaction. So based on this result, it can be assumed that the business is operating very poorly in terms of brand loyalty. And so this is an area that needs to be looked at. So the last factor is customer status. In our study, customers were divided into three statuses: active, non-active, and suspended. However, based on the FGP's dataset, there is no indication of customers who have been suspended from the loyalty program. So for this reason, our customer churn analysis is only based on customer status logical reasoning, customers with a non-use or inactive account have a higher risk of churning. So here, our data shows that there's a decrease of active users by 25% over year. So this 25% of FGB's current consumer base has runs some sort of risk of churning. So based on the customer base that we gathered from the year 2016, we have approximately 58 customers that is most likely to churn in that year. So this means that about 2.9% of our customers